Good evening, high school football fans. This is High School Football America for December 1st, 2016. I'm Jeff Fisher, host of the show and founder and editor-in-chief of High School Football America and highschoolfootballamerica.com. Here we come, right down the stretch. 3 weeks to go in the high school football season, and the games just keep getting bigger and bigger. Excited about tonight's show as we're going to give you an in-depth look at the big game in the country this week as number 3, Mater Dei in Santa Ana, California, takes on number 7, St. John Bosco from Bellflower, California. It's part 2 for these combatants. St. John Bosco beginning the season ranked number 1 in our preseason top 25, which is created with our proprietary algorithm. They lost to Bishop Gorman and to Mater Dei. Mater Dei began the season number 4 in our preseason poll. Both of those losses for St. John Bosco coming after a first half lead. So it's always hard, as we know, to beat a team a second time around, although we're going to have 2 coaches on the show later that were able to do that. So we have a great show coming up here in just a little bit. As far as the Bosco Mater Dei preview, we've got it covered from all angles for you. We're going to talk with Coach Jason Negro of St. John Bosco and Bruce Rollinson from Mater Dei. Had a chance to talk to them on Monday at the CIF Southern Section Banquet, where they put all of the 13 division combatants in one room and celebrate the season. It's a great event held in Long Beach, so we talked to them. And then we're going to bring in a couple of guys that have spent a good part of the season covering both of these teams for some real good in-depth coverage. We're going to talk to Dan Albano of the Orange County Register. He is going to talk about the Monarchs, and then we're going to have J.J. Fiddler from the Press Telegram in Long Beach talking about St. John Bosco. This is going to be a dandy ball game. First time around, Mater Dei came back and won 26-21. You can check out those highlights from that great game on highschoolfootballamerica.com. Also on the show tonight, we're going to talk some Beltway football as Elijah Brooks will be back on the show, the head coach at DeMatha, number 4 in the land in the High School Football America Top 25. They won the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference. They had to beat St. John's a second time this year. St. John's ranked in the top 50 at High School Football America, and you can go to highschoolfootballamerica.com to see all the national rankings, all the regional rankings, our media poll, and our state-by-state polls. We break everything down in a nice, concise pattern for you, state-by-state news there for you, easy to use. And don't forget, as we move through this weekend, you can keep up to date with all the scores going on from around the country. Live scoreboards provided by ScoreStream. And you can get the app and score along at your favorite team's game over the weekend by going and getting the app in the iTunes Store or at Google Play. And love our good friends at ScoreStream who have been along for the ride this year and just really doing an awesome job of keeping fans from around the country updated with what's going on as the games are being played. Hey, last night we had a big game in the top 50 as number 29 Hoover had a great defensive effort, taking down number 9 McGill-Tulane, the defending Alabama 7A champs. McGill-Tulane losing 17-7. Hoover coming up with 9 sacks against McGill-Tulane's quarterback Bubba Thompson. But the Buccaneers are back on top. What a season they've had. Wouldn't be surprised to see them in the top 25 when we release our new top 25 rankings. We do it every Sunday before everybody else does. We release them at noon Pacific time. But the Buccaneers taking down the number 9 team in the country, they will improve that number 29 ranking. The only 2 losses this year for Hoover coming out of state as they lost to number 5 Allen in Texas, and they lost to number 6 Grayson. That was a home game. So the 2 Buccaneer losses come in the number 5 and number 6 teams in the nation. So congratulations to both of those teams on an outstanding season. The Alabama Championships going on as we speak at Auburn, so you can check out the scores from the games going on live there on our ScoreStream scoreboards. They're state by state. Each and every state has a scoreboard, and then we have our top 25. Now, speaking of the top 25, which is created with our proprietary algorithm that we've been using for the last 4 years, Bishop Gorman looking for its 8th straight Nevada big classification championship on Saturday. They will take on Liberty in the 4A championship game. Liberty nationally ranked by our partners at USA Today, and that'll be a good one. Last year, they thought this one was going to be a lot closer. It was not. We'll have to see the difference here. Bottom line is Bishop Gorman is on the brink of winning the mythical national championship if they dispose of Liberty. Haven't done the math on it yet and looked it through, but with number 2 IMG season already done, if Mater Dei loses to St. John Bosco, that would all but wrap it up for Bishop Gorman. So right now you've got Mater Dei kind of the only team, as you kind of just glance at the way the algorithm works, that has a shot at that national championship. Bishop Gorman again going for 8 in a row Saturday in Nevada. You can keep up with that score at highschoolfootballamerica.com. Again, IMG out of Florida. Season is complete. A perfect 11-0 for the Ascenders. Number 3, as we said, Mater Dei. We're going to get that big preview coming up here in just a little bit. Took down Rancho Cucamonga, a very good team here in Southern California. Fell behind early, but the Monarchs were able to blast back and now getting ready for their showdown Saturday night in a Major League Baseball stadium at Angel Stadium in Anaheim. Going to be there to check that one out, and you'll be able to get all the coverage from that game at highschoolfootballamerica.com. Plus, you can follow us during the game on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is HSFB America. Our other social media, check us out on Instagram. You can get us at on Facebook at facebook.com/highschoolfootballamerica. But throughout the week, best way to keep up to date with everything from around the nation is following us on Twitter at HSFB America. Mentioned that Elijah Brooks is coming up on the show here later on. DeMatha rounding out a 12-0 season, wrapping up its 4th straight Washington Catholic Athletic Conference. The Stags, number 4 in the land. Allen, they are a couple of weeks away from going for returning to the state championship game after winning 3 straight. The Eagles taking on Duncanville in the Class 6A Division I quarterfinals. That game at AT&T Stadium, which is also the home of the Texas High School Football Championships, which will be played there in a couple of weeks, starting December 14th through the 17th. Grayson, a big showdown in the top 25 this week. They're number 6 taking on number 12, Mill Creek. That is in the Class 7A semifinals. Grayson taking down the defending champs, Colquitt County, which bounced back, played one of the tougher schedules in the country. Last week, Grayson taking down Colquitt County by a score of 49-21. Number 7 in the land, as we said, St. John Bosco taking on Mater Dei. Number 3 coming up this Saturday here in Southern California. Number 8, St. Thomas Aquinas, the Raiders in Florida in the 7A semifinals, looking to defend their state championship. They've got Venice coming up Friday night in the 7A semifinals. We mentioned that number 9, McGill-Tulane from Alabama, suffering its first defeat last night in the 7A championship game, losing to Hoover, number 29 in the land, by a score of 17-7. Rounding out the top 10, it's Corona Centennial. What a year for the Huskies. They are completed now, and just a couple of points is all that separates Corona Centennial from being in the mix for the national championship. Losing back on Labor Day weekend in a great game by 1 point to IMG Academy when IMG Academy decided to go for 2 instead of sending the game to overtime. And then the Huskies losing a thriller last week to St. John Bosco by a score of 49-47. So if you're adding it up there, 11-2 the overall mark this year. The 2 came by a combined total of 3 points. In Georgia, in the other 7A semifinal, it's number 11 Roswell taking on Westlake. The winner of that game gets the winner of number 6 number 6 Grayson and number 12 Mill Creek number 12. Last week getting by McGeechern by a score of 31-28. In Kentucky, it is Trinity going after the state championship, trying to get back to that state championship trophy that they have hoisted many, many times. The Shamrocks taking on Lafayette in the 6A championship game on Saturday. Last week, Trinity, for the second time this year, beat their arch rival, St. X, by a score of 24 14. In Florida, in the 5A semifinals, it's American Heritage from Plantation looking to go 13-0. They've got Jesuit in the 5A semifinals. In Pennsylvania, number 15, St. Joseph's Prep, the Hawks, 12-0. They will take on North Penn in the state semifinals in Class 6A. That's the biggest classification there. North Penn is actually nationally ranked by USA Today. In Texas, Lake Travis, the Cavaliers looking to march on in the 6A Division I quarterfinals. They will take on Westlake, a rematch as these two met during the regular season. And Westlake was runner-up last year in Class 6A Division I. And on October the 7th, Lake Travis beat the Chaps by a score of 49-7. Number 17, DeSoto, in another rematch from the regular season out of Texas, playing number 45, Cedar Hill, back on September 23rd. DeSoto beat the Longhorns by a score of 33-18. Those two teams are playing in the second largest classification in Texas in Class 6A Division II. Congratulations to the technicians from Cass Tech, number 18 in the land. Their season is complete, winning the Division I championship in Michigan last week by a score of 49-20. Back into the state of Texas we go. Cibolo Steel in the Class 6A Division II quarterfinals. They get Churchill on Saturday. In New Jersey, a couple of big teams there this year. Number 20, St. Joseph Regional, the Green Knights. They began the season number 13. They've been hanging around the top 25 all season long, sometimes dropping down into the other 25, which are our rankings from 26 through 50. St. Joseph Regional playing DePaul Friday for the non-public Group 3 state championship. The Green Knights have played one of the toughest schedules in the country, as has the team at number 21, Paramus Catholic, 9-2, taking on St. Peter's Prep from New Jersey in the biggest non-public group there in the Garden State, as St. Peter's Prep and Paramus Catholic will collide on Friday night. Breaking into the top 25 this week and playing for an Ohio Division I championship. On Friday, it's St. Ignatius, the Wildcats, 13-1. They jump in at number 22 to the top 25, taking on number 31, St. Xavier out of Cincinnati. What a season for the 9-5 Bombers, as they have played, the toughest schedule in the country. There's no doubt about it. Included in there was a season-opening loss at the hands of St. John Bosco, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, but that should be a dandy Division I matchup there. In South Carolina, South Point, the Stallions, number 23 in the land. They take on Belton Honea Path in the Class 4A quarterfinals. From Texas again, Denton Ryan, the Raiders, 13-0. They're in the Class 5A Division I quarters, taking on Colleyville Heritage. That game will be played Saturday. And rounding out the top 25, it's Saguaro, the SaberCats from Arizona. Perfect 14-0 season capped off with the Class 4A state championship in Arizona over the weekend, beating Catalina Foothills. That was the second time they played them this year. The final in the championship game on Saturday was 42-14. And coming up in on the back end of the show, we're going to talk with Jason Mohns, the head coach at Saguaro. In 5 years as the head coach at the Arizona school, Coach Mohns and his staff have won 4 state championships in 5 years. A couple of big games and teams that dropped out of the top 25 last weekend. Loyola Academy from Illinois, a fantastic 2-year run. The defending 8A champs going down in the 8A finals last Saturday in Champaign, Illinois, losing to Maine South, as Maine South was able to avenge a 1-point regular season loss to the Ramblers. And also falling out of the top 25, but staying in the top 50. Center Grove from Indiana, they were ranked number 21 last week, losing to Carmel, which what a season they had. I mean, everybody in Indianapolis there in that conference just ends up beating up on each other, and it's just really, really hard to win 2 games in a season against a very good high school football team. All right, want to welcome in all of our sponsors, partners. We mentioned a couple of them already. We started with ScoreStream, USA Today, a partner of ours. Let's talk about the good folks at Echo 1612. Instant replay on your sidelines. It gets no better when it comes to making in-game adjustments. Why make them tomorrow when you can make them right during the game? These are the guys that created the instant replay on the sidelines for high school football. It's now at the collegiate level. Great folks there in Oklahoma. Check them out at echo1612.com. You can reach all of our sponsors, partners, by going to highschoolfootballamerica.com. Also brought to you by Crossover Football Coaches. Need to check out the best scouting tool out there. Sign up for a demo today and see how Crossover Football can help you for the 2017 season. Or maybe even 2016 at this point, if you're still playing. Crossover's new data visualizations for football provide interactive tendency reports and other helpful insightful charts that help you evaluate your team and your opponents on both sides of the football. Your data and statistics from every game are pulled together into a single football platform. Get a comprehensive view of your performance over the course of the season with just a few clicks. Crossover is your personal advanced scout, accessible from any PC or mobile device, and even integrates with your existing film platform like Huddle. Bring something new to your self-evaluation and get a scouting edge over your opponents. Go to crossover.com/HSFA to sign up for a quick 5-minute demo to see how it can work for your team. That's crossover with a K.com/HSFA. And brought to you by the good folks at Southern Sport, who make the debris inhibitor razor. Keep those pesky rubber pellets from field turf out of your shoes forever by getting a great pair of debris inhibitor razors. And they also give you that great look of spatting without the high cost of tape, and we know how expensive tape is. This product is American made. It wears all season long, and it's not just for turf. You can also wear it on regular turf fields, on grass fields. So it's a great product. Check them out at tdirazor.com. That's razor with a U, R-A-Z-U-R, TDI-Razor, R-A-Z-U-R.com. Use the special code HSFA to get a discount on your next order. All right, lots to do on the show as we set a complete preview of what's coming up for St. John Bosco and Mater Dei, number 3 Mater Dei taking on number 7 St. John Bosco here in Southern California Saturday night, and then a good chat with Elijah Brooks, the head coach at DeMatha, number 4 in the land, and the head coach of number 25 Saguaro from Arizona, Jason Mohns. So it's a busy show. We're expanding it. We're getting toward the end of the season. We've got so many great stories to tell. We figured let's make the show as long as it needs to be so you have all the up-to-date information on what's happening as we wind down the final 3 weeks of the 2016 high school football season. Hey, and one other thing, don't forget the coach's job board is popping. We've got over 200 football coaching jobs up on it. It's in the navigation tab at highschoolfootballamerica.com. If you have a listing that you want posted, it's all free. Send it to us at jobposting.com. And also coachesjobboard.com, which has all the jobs outside of football, also up and running. And you can email us all at jobposting@highschoolfootballamerica.com for whatever posting you want listed up there. All right, time to take a break and hear from all of our great partners. When we come back, we're going to begin our preview with Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. We're going to start on the highest-ranked team's side of the football, as we're going to talk with Dan Albano of the Orange County Register about the Monarchs, and we'll also hear from legendary head coach Bruce Rollinson of the Monarchs. And then a little bit later in the show, we're going to bring in J.J. Fiddler from the Press-Telegram to talk about the Braves, and we'll hear from St. John Bosco head coach Jason Negro. It's a great show. You won't want to miss any of it. Taking a break, coming back with more. This is High School Football America. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover's service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, you can filter the clips however you'd like. They'll also automatically prepare a comprehensive tendency report and down and distance report for your staff so you can see exactly what your opponents like to call in specific situations. We all know that every coach spends countless hours preparing before a game. It's not about the time you put in, it's about what you do with that time. That's Crossover's biggest advantage. It allows you to use your prep time more efficiently and get an even deeper level of insight since you don't have to waste time setting up the film. Check them out. You're going to love them. You can sign up for a quick free demo at crossover.com/football. That's crossover.com/football. Jeff Fisher back on High School Football America tonight as we begin our preview of the big showdown here in Southern California Saturday night, 7:30 Pacific time at Angel Stadium. as number 3, Mater Dei, will take on number 7, St. John Bosco. These Trinity League foes battled back in October. A come-from-behind win for Mater Dei, 26-21. And tonight on the show, we're going to talk in just a few seconds here with Bruce Rollinson, who I chatted with on Monday at the CIF Southern Section Luncheon, where all the combatants in this weekend's 13 Division Championships gathered for a little lunch and had a great time. It's a great event there by the CIF Southern Section. We're going to talk to Bruce Rollinson, and then we're going to follow that up with Dan Albano from the Orange County Register, a great sports reporter out here. He's going to give you an inside look at how good these Monarchs have been this year. I think I've seen them at this point 3 times, and wow. JT Daniels, I've spoken with him several times. What a nice kid, great talent, sophomore quarterback. Who knows how he's going to destroy the record book here in Southern California over the next 2 years, but a big game coming up on Saturday night. He's got a great set of receivers. This team has it all, and really at this point in time, it's kind of their national championship to try and break into that Bishop Gorman party, if you will. And they can do that by beating St. John Bosco for a second time this year. No easy task, but it's been done this year a couple of times. But that second go-round is always a very tough one. And that's where we're going to kind of start this conversation. Back in 2013, when St. John Bosco won its first ever CIF Southern Section championship, they beat Mater Dei in the championship game in front of about 12,500 at Angel Stadium, 34-7. So that was 2 times during that season that they beat him, and of course they went on to that great win against De La Salle. So they're hoping that the same thing doesn't happen, that Mater Dei can't do the back-to-back here. But earlier this week when I spoke to Bruce Rollinson, he reinforced how loose this year's ball club is, that they're just some kids out there having fun playing the game of football. So I asked him, what do you do as you prepare for the second matchup in the same season against a very good football team? And as you can imagine, Bruce Rollinson had the answers. He's a quote machine.
Well, I think there's a couple things. First of all, you look at every game after we played to see if they changed any of the structural stuff, maybe some tweaks in special teams. Try to kind of compare it to your notes from I think it was the 7th or 8th game, the first 7 games. Then the next thing that you're going to do is obviously you're going to check any personnel changes. And then what you do is you just say, okay, let's really study the game from a view of, is this where we sound here? What can we clean up? How do we approach our kids? And then you throw it away. And reality is now you bring up everything. I mean, you find every little advantage that you can have, whether it's trick plays, whether it's, special teams, and then you just throw caution to the wind. Like you said, I had a feeling this was going to come down. And I've always said after that, I go, okay, pick your poison. Do you want the rematch or do you want the Huskies? Because neither one was a great choice. It's kind of like, do I want spinach or more spinach?
And you said in that game too, you said that it was like you're going to the county fair. I think that was exactly what it was, or a carnival or something like that, a community fair. What do you do all this week? The kids are loose normally. Will you do anything more because this game is a little bit more special?
That's a great question. Basically, I've already met with them on Saturday after the semifinal game, and I start to prepare them mentally. Like the 4 captains are with me here today. And I prepared them that, they're going to have to do a lot of interviews. And over the years, when I was younger, I didn't manage the media well. Now, it's part of the excitement of the week, and I present it that way. But it can't be a distraction. The reality is we're going to do everything exactly the same. We'll cut back because we have an extra practice day Thursday. We'll cut back slightly Thursday. And then traditionally before the championship game, we'll have a team meal on Friday. We'll have a kind of a fire-up session. We'll have a video created for them. And then just do what we do on Saturday. Show up and punch the clock, and let's see if we can go win this thing.
If you're just joining us here on High School Football America, talking with Bruce Rollinson, talked with him on Monday about the big game coming up at Angel Stadium on Saturday night, the CIF Southern Section Division I championship game, and we're going to talk with Dan Albano and J.J. Fiddler about the competitive equity, which changed things up this year in the Southern Section. But before we get to the last couple of questions for Coach Rollinson, I thought it'd be fun to kind of give you some of the stats based upon their website at moderndayfootball.net. 26 league championships, make it 27 this year, 9 CIF championships, 2 USA Today national championships, 5 undefeated seasons, looking to make that 6, only 5 losing seasons, and all-time, only 199 losses. They do not want to make it 200 here on Saturday night. So continuing with Bruce Rollinson, who we talked with on Monday, I asked him about if it makes a difference playing in Angel Stadium. Their rivalry game against Servite is played at Angel Stadium, but certainly it's a Major League Baseball stadium, not designed for football. They run the field from home plate out to the left field wall. There's not a lot of room there. I mean, it kind of fits in to the space. So I asked Coach if that makes any difference in a game of this magnitude.
But yeah, the novelty is worn off. But you know, it is different. I'm telling you, the lights are brighter. The field surface is going to be a little bit slicker. They're going to put temporary grass over the infield area. That's going to be loose. So, but you don't really talk about much of that because I just presented guys a 100-yard field. What you do in between the lines is all that's going to count Friday or Saturday night.
And then what are the things you check off that you want to see happen between now and Saturday to know that this team is ready for this game?
Couple of bumps and bruises that they're getting the maximum amount of rehabilitation available so that we can get them to the highest percentage, less than 100, because I'm going to have a few that'll have to go off less than 100%. And then let them have fun, you know, because this is a loose group. We're not going to get wadded up. We're going to just do our dance contests after practice, and God only knows what else, they'll come up with. But I don't want to change anything. Just, I've been telling the kids leading up to this, fellas, what has made us successful? What is our formula for success? Okay, the only difference is the date changes and the color of the uniforms change. In this case, only the date's changing. The color of the uniforms we've already seen, so let's go do it.
That's Bruce Rollinson, legendary coach of Mater Dei, and we're going to take a break and continue our preview here of St. John Bosco and Mater Dei. We're going to talk with Dan Albano next from the Orange County Register. He's going to take us inside the Monarchs. That and more. You're listening to High School Football America. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field Turf rubber pellets, be gone. The debris inhibitor razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The debris inhibitor razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The debris inhibitor razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The debris inhibitor razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the debris inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover's service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, you can filter the clips however you'd like. They'll also automatically prepare a comprehensive tendency report and down and distance report for your staff so you can see exactly what your opponents like to call in specific situations. We all know that every coach spends countless hours preparing before a game. It's not about the time you put in, it's about what you do with that time. That's Crossover's biggest advantage. It allows you to use your prep time more efficiently and get an even deeper level of insight since you don't have to waste time setting up the film. Check them out. You're going to love them. You can sign up for a quick free demo at crossover.com/football. That's crossover.com/football. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by USA Today High School Sports. Once again, in 2016, USA Today High School Sports and High School Football America teaming up to give you great national high school football coverage and coverage from Southern California. Check them out at usatodayhss.com. Well, as promised at the top of the show, we're going to take a long, hard look at the game of the week, maybe the game of the year. We've had a couple of them out here in Southern California this year, what with Corona Centennial and IMG colliding, and then Modern Day and St. John Bosco going at it for the second time this weekend at Angel Stadium. And we're going to give you a complete look at this game as we're going to take a look specifically at Bosco. We're going to have J.J. Fiddler on here in a little bit to talk about that. We'll talk with Jason Negro, but we're going to start things out with the number 3 team in the country, Modern Day. Bruce Rollinson coming up in just a little bit, but my good friend at the Orange County Register, Dan Albano, has seen the Monarchs up close and personal. He's a great sports writer out here in Southern California, is on the line right now to talk about the Monarchs and what may be one of the greatest all-time teams ever here in Southern California. I haven't been here but 4 years, but maybe Dan can answer that question for us. Welcome to the show, Dan.
It's great to be back with you, Jeff.
Yeah, great to have you on the line here. And let's kind of dive into this a little bit. Obviously, JT Daniels, the sophomore quarterback, has gotten incredible numbers, has got incredible press this year, but it can't be done without the wide receivers on this team. So let's kind of start breaking down the offense. How good is this offense in years of covering Southern California football?
Well, Jeff, you hit it right there. I mean, this is, I think, a team for, the ages really, and a lot of it starts right where you're at wide receiver, because you just don't see many teams this deep at wide receiver with this many, Division I, Pac-12 type recruits. I mean, they're just loaded, bursting at the seams at receivers And it starts with the brother duo of Osiris St. Brown and his younger brother, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Osiris is the senior. He's a Stanford commit. Both these boys are very, very intelligent, very interesting kids, very well-rounded. They speak multiple languages. They've lived abroad. They're phenomenal athletes. Their dad's a former bodybuilding champion, John Brown. These guys are very impressive. Their GPAs are way up in territory I've never visited. But both these guys have over 1,000 yards receiving, and they both, Amon-Ra, the younger junior, has 20 touchdown receptions, and then Osiris has 19. But the list goes on. C.J. Parks is an outstanding junior. Nico Remigio is a junior to watch. They throw it a lot to the backs. They throw it a lot in general. And then they have a very touted sophomore in Brew McCoy.
And the thing about it that's amazing is, each and every one can have an awesome game because you key on one that opens it up for someone else. Dan Albano on the line from the Orange County Register, and let's now pull it over to the guy pulling the triggers, the guy that's calling his own plays. When Bruce Rollinson and I talked earlier this year, and I'm sure you've talked about the same thing. I mean, to have a kid this young doing what he's doing, not only with the numbers but calling the plays and all that, where does JT Daniels stack up with 2 more years to go when it comes to the litany of great quarterbacks, not only modern day, but here in Southern California?
He's on pace to be the best quarterback ever to come out of Orange County, and that's saying a lot, because there's been a very storied past. We were at the luncheon yesterday, Jeff, and they rattled off Heisman Trophy winners from the Southern section, and 2 of them were on that list, Carson Palmer, Matt Leinart, from Santa Margarita, Mater Dei, respectively. We could go, so there's a storied history there, but he is so young, as you said, on such a great pace. It's mind-boggling to think what he's going to be like. I think it was one player. It was Santa Margarita center, Brett Nealon, who is a USC commit. He told me after a game this year, he said, I am scared for the Trinity Leagues, / the competition for when they face JT as a junior and senior year. He's, because you look at those stats, we haven't had a quarterback with 65 touchdowns this year, only 3 interceptions, 4,560 yards, completing, 75% of his passes. He's got a lot of weapons. He's in a great system that has, produced lots of good quarterbacks, Matt Barkley and Billy Blanton, and the list really goes on. We mentioned Leinart, so he's in a great spot. He's very talented. He's just so ahead of the curve, Jeff.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that's just, it stands out to me. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves, but what a nice kid. I know you've had an opportunity to talk to him. I remember after the first Bosco game, he said, they saved my butt, and I think he said it specifically that way about the offensive line and the running game and all that. To talk a little bit about your interaction with him and how just kind of understated he is, despite those numbers that are overstated.
And that's a lot of his intangibles that make him so great is those qualities that you mentioned. He is very selfless. He's a great teammate. He gets along very well for a younger player. You follow his Twitter, and it's a lot of he's reposting and retweeting on his social media the accomplishments of his teammates. You go on there, and you're not surprised to see him putting something about their fine kicker and punter. He's all the mentioning these special teams guys and their accomplishments. So he's very complimentary. He's gives a lot of praise to the St. Browns. He's itching. If you read his quotes, he's always itching to talk about his offensive linemen, and that's something that we're doing this week. But he really likes his offensive line, a young offensive line that's really come, and he's a very great guy to talk to. He looks you in the eye. He's humble. He answers your questions, and these intangibles, Jeff, make him a great leader. And his teammates reciprocate, and they're quick to. I talked to the St. Brown brothers after a game, and I think it was Amon-Ra after a game against Edison this year. He went out his way to say, "JT, put us in the right spots to be successful." That's the kind of guy that you're dealing with JT Daniels.
Yeah, and the kind of team in general. Dan Albano is on the line. He's a great sports writer here in Southern California for the Orange County Register, as is everyone over there. I don't want Steve Fryer to hear this and say, "Oh, well, Jeff, you didn't mention me," but you guys have an awesome staff. You guys do an awesome job with high school sports in general, but when it's football season, love reading you each and every day. When Bruce Rollinson was on before the first game back in October, he was so happy when I said, "Come on, let's talk offensive line." And he's like, "Yeah, I like talking about my piggies there, the guys that do it." And you said you guys are gonna do something this week. You don't have to give away your story, but it's a national audience here. Tell me a little bit about this offensive line and what you guys are doing with it in the story and what you found out as far as how good they are.
Well, we've learned a lot, and we knew a lot about Tommy Brown, who's their junior left tackle, who's really come on. He's been a highly recruited fella, number 75. He's very hard to miss out there. I'm sure you've had your eyes on him like everybody else, Jeff. I mean, he's a junior. He's 6'7", 321 pounds, and he was about that size as a guy, freshman and sophomore. And he's just continued to play better. And he's got a tough matchup this week with St. John Bosco that's got an outstanding D-line. They have a really nice defensive end that really he goes against in this matchup, which is pretty exciting, is number 44, Jacob Callier, who really gave Tommy all he could handle last in the Trinity League game on October 21st. So, but Tommy is one of the guys to watch. They have a lot of younger guys. Their right tackle is interesting, fella, is Andrew Biola. I probably not getting pronouncing his name right, but he is a junior, number 56, right tackle. He recently was offered by Arizona. He's the brother of their excellent defensive tackle, Andrew. So, and Andrew is a senior who's committed to Arizona, and he's one of those guys. If you watch modern day play, Austin is the brother, Austin Fiola. He is the older brother. He's a defensive tackle. He's outstanding. He's committed to Arizona. But his younger brother, the junior right tackle, Austin, he's recently got an offer from Andrew. I get these guys confused here. Andrew with the A's.
Yep.
But Andrew recently got offered by Arizona. And this group has done a great job because JT Daniels, with all those yards we talked about, has he gets the ball out quick, but he also hasn't been sacked very much. He wasn't sacked in the semifinal win against Rancho Cucamonga. That's kind of common territory, kind of standard procedure for JT not spending much time on the ground.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And let's flip it over to the other side because, again, when you have these offensive numbers, the offensive line, maybe falls to the back of the story, or if at all. And defensively, they have had a great season. Tell me a little bit about that other side of the ball because they've got their hands full when it comes to taking on Bosco this week.
Yeah, they're that's an interesting side of the ball. I wrote a feature on them earlier this year just on the defense because the offense has gotten so much pub, but the defense is really they fly around. They really play well together. They're really a band of brothers where they don't have a standout racking up major sack numbers or really triple digit tackle totals. But this unit's been outstanding. They have I think 4 shutouts this year. They had 3 in the non-league, and then they picked up one in the first round of playoffs against overmatched Tesoro in the first round. So they have 4 shutouts, and they have a great tradition at Mater Dei because Coach Rollinson understands how much publicity, like you mentioned, how much JT Daniels is receiving in the St. Browns. So what they do at Mater Dei, if you get a shutout on the defense, they treat the defense to a steak dinner. So they've had 4 steak dinners on their Thursday night practice after film. If they get a shutout the next week, they have a steak dinner. And the other thing interesting about this unit, Jeff, is that if you look at those team captains on Saturday night at Angel Stadium when they roll out and they have the coin flip, you'll notice that they're from the defensive side of the ball. The captains are the cornerback, Quentin Lake, son of former NFL star Carnell Lake. He's a cornerback going to UCLA commit. He's one of the captains. And then there's 2 linebackers, Roman Confentis, and Jackson McCleary, two outstanding, really athletic linebackers. They're two of the captains. And then Daniel Contreras is another one. He's a defensive end, also plays a little offense, but really more known as a defense. So that tells you something there. 4 captains from the defense, and that's really that's kind of the heartbeat of the team as much as that offense is clicking.
Yeah, no, and one of the things that Bruce Rollins and I had talked about, several times this year, and then Monday when we were there talking at the luncheon, is how loose a group this is. And I kind of remember that from the first matchup with Bosco. Have you been able to kind of witness that? It doesn't seem like this is your typical high-strung team. They're just kind of out there having fun.
Yeah. Right to that point, Jeff, is after that first Mater Dei Bosco game this year at Cerritos College, when Mater Dei pulled off the upset. They broke the streak of the Braves anyway. 23 in a row they'd won in the Trinity League. Coach, one of the words that Coach Rollinson used to describe his team was knuckleheads, and he was kind of referring to maybe some of their penalties, some of their exuberance, maybe a slight lack of focus at times. They play really hard. They seem to enjoy the game. They don't seem very stressful. I at the luncheon yesterday we were at, I thought I hit Jackson McCleary with a pretty good question about, talking about, is it going to be difficult to beat Bosco twice in a season? And I thought, he's got to think about that a little bit. He's in the role of the team that's already won. How is he going to take these questions? And he was simply, I don't know. We'll just have to see. Okay.
Quote unquote.
He was, we'll see about that. Okay. And he went about his way. High school kids, they are. They were not stressing over my questions at all.
Dan Albano on the line from the Orange County Register, ocvarsity.com. Again, they just do an awesome job down here, and I've enjoyed getting to know Dan and all of his colleagues over there. Just really, when it comes down to high school sports, which, in some cases in larger cities fall to the wayside, these guys do it right and do it, very, very professionally. We're talking about the big game Saturday night at Angels Stadium as St. John Bosco will take on Mater Dei number 3 in our high school top 25. St. John Bosco number 7. And now let's dial it back to that game there on October 21st where the Braves had the lead. Mater Dei was able to come back and win 26-21. And, you've already mentioned it. Later on in the show, we're going to talk with DeMatha head coach Elijah Brooks about how hard it is to beat a team twice in the year, and they were able to do it in St. John's there in the Beltway. So let's talk about that game back in October. How much does that play a role in this game this weekend?
That's a great question, Jeff, and that's something I posed to Bruce Rollinson. Who better to go to, right, to the head coach on how you do that. Coach Rollinson, he had a pretty, I would say, analytical and well-thought answer to that question where he said to me yesterday, he said, well, first off, you have to look at the trends on where St. John Bosco, he said, has gone since that game. What have they started to do more of? What have they started to improve of? What have they taken away? So that gives you some of the mindset of Mater Dei. They're not going to leave anything unturned. They're going to investigate the trends. What's happening now? What kind of team is Bosco is now? And then he also said that they're going to look back at that game on October 21st and what did Mater Dei do well, which they did 2 things extremely well, is they had no turnovers. They had 2 interceptions, including one very big one in the fourth quarter by Jalen Cole, their cornerback, kind of one of their senior leaders. And they did not allow big plays, and at the same time, Mater Dei made big plays on a big punt return by Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second half, and of course that interception. So they have to look back at what they did well in that game, and then like I said, Mater Dei not leaving anything unturned. They're going to look back at what they didn't do well, and there's some areas that they did struggle in. JT Daniels didn't have the greatest night. Bosco did have some success running the ball at times. In the first half, Real Mitchell looked outstanding at quarterback, maybe outplayed JT Daniels. Things changed in the second half. So then they have to look at how that game went, what they can do well, and then even one of the quotes I liked yesterday from Coach Rollinson, Jeff, was he said, there's always things in your playbook that don't get implemented into the game. You always have something in there that you didn't run in that first game, things that Bosco hasn't seen. Then you have to ask yourself, the monitor asks them, well, why didn't we do this? Maybe there's something else to introduce. So there's kind of a lot that goes into this. This seems like they got a lot of work to do is what I'm thinking.
I agree with you on that. One of the other things that Bruce told me was, we were just talking about the buildup and the fact that people like you, myself, and everybody else are on campus, trying to get the angles for the games and all that. He said he's doing a much better job of managing the media. I know you've talked to Jason in the past too. Tell me a little bit about the coaches here. What makes these two coaches, maybe the perfect guys to play in this game? Because I think both of them have interesting downplayed personalities, can be a little high at the time, but I think it's interesting to have, kind of Jason Negro, who's the up-and-comer, if you will, and the legendary guy in Rollinson. How do you look at these two coaches?
Yeah, it's a great matchup. We're lucky enough to be very familiar with both of them because Jason Negro coached in Orange County for quite a long time and did a great job at Trabuco Hills, and we got to know him and his outstanding offensive coordinator, Chad Johnson, who's a Orange County product, played at El Toro High School, was an outstanding center and place kicker, and now he's an offensive guru who does really well with the quarterbacks. So we know them. Jason has been very. He's a new breed young coach, but he does very well with the media, very approachable. He gave me one of my best quotes before the last game, which I used again yesterday. Which was, he told me before the October 21st game, he said, I think this is the first of two games. This game will be played twice this year. And he told me before the Trinity League game that he foresaw, this rematch, in the finals, because as we know, the playoff brackets, they're going to be on the opposite sides of the bracket. The only way they could play in the playoffs, Mater Dei and Bosco, would be in the finals. And Coach Rollinson, he's a pro when it comes to media, Jeff. I think he could be a college coach. He would be a professional coach. He does an outstanding job with the media. I would rank Coach Rollinson is the number one coach who handles the media the best. And he has some help, and that's important that he has some great support at Mater Dei. But I believe that he is the one who's kind of put some. He has some support. He's able to delegate it. There's some channels that we can go through. But when it comes to giving interviews, working with the press, interacting with the press, how personally he is, for as fired up as a guy he is and a veteran, he's got it down with the media.
Yeah.
All the media, we all really like Coach Rollinson. He is a quality man. He's very one thing that we really appreciate, myself and Steve Fryer, is that we love coaches that will talk to us about other programs, other players, compliment other teams, give us some analysis, some insight on other teams. Coach Rollinson is one of those, and he's done a great job this year sharing his relationship with Edison coach Dave White, giving some insight about their relationship, and that's been an interesting thing. And that's the kind of things that he does. He shares, he opens up, and of course he shares a lot about he lets his intensity come out and his emotions come out, and that leads to great quotes and great color. And with his raspy voice, some of his sayings, you'll get a rock and roll baby from him at some point.
He is a quote machine, that's for sure. Dan Albano on the line tonight, talking Mater Dei as they get ready for part deux, as they say in French, for St. John Bosco and Mater Dei. It's at Angel Stadium on Saturday. It is going to be a dandy big crowd, played in a baseball stadium, which is interesting. I'll ask that question. I got a couple more, but as long as you have time here, I got a few more since I have you on the line here. But I asked this question to Bruce, and I forgot that they had actually played Servite there this year. But tell me a little bit, there are players on both teams that, maybe had not had the opportunity to play in what's a different setting. I mean, a baseball stadium, yes, there's a football field there. Yes, it's 100 yards long. But do you think playing in Angel Stadium, aside from the great atmosphere in that, makes a difference as opposed to your standard high school football stadium?
What always makes a difference for those players that they step into a professional venue, they go into the locker rooms, they come out in the pregame and they realize it's a giant stadium that can hold around 50,000. So it's a special evening, and that's the design of the CIF Southern section. They want these high school kids to have a memorable game and remember this for the rest of their lives, and I think they will. And that's a big part is venues and the kids are certainly blessed to have this chance to play at Angel Stadium. For Bosco, this is the 4th straight year that they played at Angel Stadium in the Division I finals. So they're very used to running out to that field and playing on the bright lights and the television and, being on that stage. And Mater Dei, this group of seniors hasn't experienced that. The last time Mater Dei was in the finals, I believe it was about 2000. It was the first year, so 4 years ago, when Bosco was in the won the title. They beat Mater Dei, but the main players on the Mater Dei team weren't on that varsity team. So the Bosco players have more experience. So that will be one thing to watch to see how Mater Dei reacts to being at Angel Stadium in the crowd and in the venue, where Bosco has got much more familiarity with it in a championship setting.
Yeah, and I'm checking out my eyesight too, because you and I are going to be tucked way down the right field, by the foul pole, watching the game there at Angel Stadium. One of the bad things about it, we're a little farther away from the stadium. Dan, before we give you the big question, which is pick a winner for us, we've had some great football out here in Southern California this year. I think you tweeted out last night that you've had an opportunity to see a large number of, especially in Orange County, a large number of the teams that will be playing for section championships on Friday and Saturday. If it's at all possible, and I know you can do it, take as much time as you need, but I would love to hear a thumbnail sketch of kind of the other teams, because we have had some good ones out here this year that are going for gold on Friday and Saturday. Give me a couple of nuggets there.
All right. Well, it's been a great high school football season, one of the best in recent memory, with the new competitive equity model that the Southern section has put together. It's been just that, very competitive. And you start with Division II. You have San Clemente taking on Murrieta Valley. San Clemente from Orange County, they've never won a CIF title in football, so they've been deep. They're obviously as deep in South as we have in Orange County and San Clemente. Beach School, they've won a lot of titles in some other sports, but they have, this is their 3rd straight year that they have been in the finals, and they're kind of, now they're this quarterback factory they sent Sam Darnold to USC, and we know how well Sam's doing as a freshman. They have Jack Sears is also committed now to USC. He had earlier committed to Duke, but he changed over to the Trojans. So can San Clemente break through against a really good Murrieta Valley team who has an outstanding sophomore quarterback, King Bachmeyer? He's kind of the J.T. Daniels of the Inland Empire. So that's an interesting game. In Division III, you have one of legendary coach Dave White at Edison, has been there 30-plus years. It's even longer if you include how he played quarterback at Edison. He was an assistant under the legendary coach Bill Workman, and now he's been a long time at his alma mater. Well, this is his last year, and he's in the finals against the top seed La Mirada Matadors. La Mirada's a home team in that one, so that's a great game. Dave White, the storybook season, their hashtag, Jeff, has been, for their Edison social media, has been hashtag win for White, I believe it has been.
That's good.
So that's, they got their theme, kind of probably off the Vin Scully win for Vin, and they got their win for White. And then Division IV, Corona Del Mar, Chase Garbers has kind of been an underrated quarterback in Orange County. He's had a fabulous year, throwing for almost 50 touchdowns himself. He's going to Cal. He's a senior. Very few interceptions, about over 3,500 yards. They're taking on Sierra Canyon team that's undefeated out of Chatsworth. That game's going to be at Granada Hills on Friday. So this high-powered Corona Del Mar team that has got a Pac-12 quarterback, they're very exciting to watch. And then we got so that's Division IV. We have Capo Valley in Division V, which is in its first final since 1990, and they're taking on Calabasas. That's a 1 and 2 seed in that division. Capo's really known for its their defense has been outstanding all year, and now they got to take on Calabasas. Got a high-powered offense, and then it doesn't stop there. We have Yorba Linda came out of a tough league in the Crestview League. They were second to Villa Park, and they're in the Division VIII final against Burbank. Burbank's got a very aggressive defense, and Yorba Linda has got a very good coach in Orange County, maybe a little bit of an underrated guy. That's one of the things that's great about Orange County is they're very blessed in coaching. Where Jeff Bailey's already won CI titles before at El Dorado, so he's looking to win CIF titles at a second school, which is puts you in rarefied company in Orange County. There's only a handful of coaches that have won CIF titles at both schools. And then we have Santa Ana that's in their first CIF final since 1986. And they're they've really turned back the clock at Santa Ana. They've got a couple of outstanding twin brothers, George and Jonathan Bersenio, and one's a receiver. Jonathan's a receiver safety, and then George is a outstanding running back. And these guys have brought Santa Ana back. They're very physical, good ground game, and they're in Division 13 finals, and they're going to go out and play. I think it's Rancho Christian out in Temecula. So that's going to be, and then that team is coached by former Orange County coach Jim Kunow. So there's just some great games to watch this year. It's been a fabulous high school football season. Orange County is very blessed. Yeah, Rancho Christian of Temecula and Jim Kunow, a former Orange Lutheran coach. So lots of storylines. We got a lot of work to do, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
We've got 3 weeks to go in this season, and Dan, we appreciate you joining us. But before we let you go, I never do this because, I can't take the pressure. But since I have you and JJ on here talking about either side, I'm going to put a noose around both of your necks at the end of each interview. So you get the first pick here. So if I had to put the noose around your neck and say, predict a winner, predict the score for me, what would Dan Albano say about modern-day St. John Bosco's Part 2?
Well, I'm going with the Monarchs. I think this group is really hungry. They're very focused. It's tough to beat Bosco twice, and Bosco's playing for a lot themselves. It's a very common theory in high school sports is the revenge factor is very big. The team that lost the first game in high school sports, you tell those kids, we got payback, revenge, and they can step up their game. But I think modern day, this group is really special, and they're just such a well-balanced team. They're outstanding on special teams. They have a big advantage on special teams. I think they have a big advantage on the passing game. If JT Daniels is on, they can run it outstanding. And they got a defense that's going to make plays. And they might give up some plays, but I think that defense will stick around enough to make plays and get the victory. They're just very balanced, very hungry. So it'd be shocking for me to see them not win the CIF title. So as far as the score, I think modern day will and I'd give them. They only scored 26 last time. I'm going to put them at about 38 this time. I can see them bump up a few more points. I like that Bosco defense as well, and I think the Bosco will probably hit about. I think they'll improve from their last game of 21 points. So I think they'll maybe get out to about 28. So maybe about 38-28. We'll see how I do on Saturday.
Well, I'll be sitting right there next to you in some way, shape, or form, and look forward to watching this game with you. And should be a great one. Dan, just really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know it's a busy week to kind of give the people around the nation a really good inside look at the Monarchs. So thanks for joining us tonight, and see you on Saturday.
It's always great to talk with you, Jeff, and I will see you on Saturday.
Sounds good. Taking a break, coming back with more as we're going to flip it over to St. John Bosco. You're listening to High School Football America. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover's service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, you can filter the clips however you'd like. They'll also automatically prepare a comprehensive tendency report and down and distance report for your staff so you can see exactly what your opponents like to call in specific situations. We all know that every coach spends countless hours preparing before a game. It's not about the time you put in, it's about what you do with that time. That's Crossover's biggest advantage. It allows you to use your prep time more efficiently and get an even deeper level of insight since you don't have to waste time setting up the film. Check them out. You're going to love them. You can sign up for a quick free demo at crossover.com/football. That's crossover.com/football. Jeff Fisher back on High School Football America tonight. If you're just tuning in, big preview we're doing on the upcoming showdown here in Southern California between number 3 in the land, Mater Dei, taking on number 7, St. John Bosco in the preseason Top 25 High School Football America's national rankings. The top 50 developed with our proprietary algorithm. St. John Bosco was number 1, and number 4 was Mater Dei. And coming into this game, Mater Dei has notched it up 1 to number 3, and St. John Bosco, after falling, I think they fell as low as 13, now back up to number 7 after defeating Corona Centennial last week. This is a great ball game with lots of great ball players on both sides, 2 great coaches. If you're just tuning in, we heard from Dan Albano of the Orange County Register talking about the Monarchs, and also heard from legendary Bruce Rollinson, the head coach at St. John Bosco, having done a fine job since coming over from Trabuco Hills, where he did a great job turning that program around. Jason Negro had him win 4 straight Trinity League championships until this year. That's hard to do in one of America's toughest conferences year in and year out. And when I spoke to Jason, like I did Coach Rollinson on Monday, I had basically the same question to start everything off, which is, what do you do differently? It was 26-21. St. John Bosco led going into the fourth quarter in the first game back in October. So I asked him, what you do differently, and which position would you rather be in, the team that's already won one game against you or the team that's lost? And here's what Jason's answer was.
I certainly would like to rather be in our situation than theirs. I think it's really difficult to beat somebody 2 times in the same year. That game back in October was an amazing game. Both teams played so well executed. We have a ton of respect for Mater Dei and Coach Rollinson and what he's been able to do with that program. And we just want to try to do our part. And so hopefully we learn some lessons from it, and we have some high motivation for this coming Saturday to play as equally well as we did back in October.
Do you fight the urge to change things dramatically based upon the first game, or what do you do? Is it Bosco is Bosco and this is what we do, and we're not going to change?
I certainly think we're going to focus on ourselves. I mean, that's something that we do no matter who we play, when we play, is we're going to focus on ourselves first and make sure that we work on our execution and the things that we can control. I can't control what they're doing at Mater Dei. I can control what we do at Bosco and how we prepare. So we're going to start there, and then I think we're going to approach it like a completely different game. We played them back in 2013 twice, once in league and once in the CI finals. We played Margarita twice this year, and we've had a pretty good formula as far as playing somebody the same year twice in terms of just creating a brand new game, and it's like a brand new opponent. So we're going to stay consistent with that.
You've played big games, and now I wasn't there on Friday night. I was watching it back east, but what a game. Yeah. How much time does it take to get those kids off of what was one big game?
You know what? Hopefully not too long. I mean, we don't bring our kids in on the weekends, so they have the whole weekend to kind of think about it and, embrace it and really be able to celebrate that victory on Friday night over Centennial. But we got to understand that our work's not finished. We still have a lot of work to do. We'll hopefully have 2 more games in us if we can get by Mater Dei and play in the state game. So I think that come today at practice, Monday when we get into film session, once we finish the Centennial, game and break that thing down, we'll focus on Mater Dei and hopefully put that one behind us.
What are the boxes you have to check Saturday night to do the things right to come away with a W?
Honestly, the same formula that we had last week. We have to be able to control the line of scrimmage. I think that's big for us on both sides of the ball because they're so talented up front on both sides. We have to protect the football. We won the turnover battle against Centennial, and the biggest area is Mater Dei just dominated us in the special teams in the earlier matchup in October. They won all facets of the special teams game, and we're going to have to do a better job and be more focused, on controlling that aspect of it from our sides because we didn't execute, and their kickers really put us behind the 8 ball.
Jason Negro, the head coach at St. John Bosco. If you want to check out the highlights from that first game back in October, go to highschoolfootballamerica.com. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to go inside the Braves with a guy that's seen them quite a bit this year. As a matter of fact, J.J. Fiddler and I from the Press Telegram in Long Beach, we were out there at one of the first practices back in August when, at that point, the Braves were getting ready to take a big road trip to Ohio where they played and beat very handily St. Xavier, one of the top teams year in and year out. They're actually playing for a Division I Ohio title on Friday night. Taking on St. Ignatius, number 22 in the land. St. X is number 31 in the latest High School Football America national rankings, and that was when we first saw what they were working on, and now here we are already in December in the big game Saturday night as number 3, Mater Dei, will take on number 7, St. John Bosco for the CIF Southern Section Division I title. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with J.J. Fiddler of the Press Telegram. That and more. You're listening to High School Football America. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass-playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover's service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, you can filter the clips however you'd like. They'll also automatically prepare a comprehensive tendency report and down and distance report for your staff so you can see exactly what your opponents like to call in specific situations. We all know that every coach spends countless hours preparing before a game. It's not about the time you put in, it's about what you do with that time. That's Crossover's biggest advantage. It allows you to use your prep time more efficiently and get an even deeper level of insight since you don't have to waste time setting up the film. Check them out. You're going to love them. You can sign up for a quick free demo at crossover.com/football. That's crossover.com/football. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by USA Today High School Sports. Once again, in 2016, High School Football America and USA Today High School Sports teaming up to give you great national high school football coverage and specific coverage from Southern California. Check them out at usatodayhss.com. Well, if you're just joining us, you'll have missed a large part of the preview that we're doing on the game of the week in the nation as number 3 Mater Dei in the high school School Football America Top 25 takes on number 7, St. John Bosco. We've heard from Dan Albano at the OC Register about Mater Dei, and now we're going to bring in a guy that's seen Bosco a lot. As a matter of fact, I think I saw J.J. Fiddler from the Press Telegram out there one of the first days of camp this year back in August on a Saturday, and he joins us now to talk about what is a very good Braves football team that's, give or take a couple of quarters, just an inch away from being undefeated going into this one. Welcome to the show, JJ.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, thanks for having me. You are right. A couple plays away from being at the top of your rankings.
Yeah, absolutely. And they began the season, ranked number 1. We had talked about that Saturday, and the game against Gorman and the game against Mater Dei, 2 games that they had at the half. So let's kind of maybe start from that standpoint, which is, how do you believe those 2 games have helped them and prepare them for this big game at Angel Stadium on Saturday night?
Yeah, you can't say enough about the quality of the schedule Jason Negro has put together. I mean, other than those 2 games, you talk about their first game against St. Xavier. They're still playing this weekend. Second game at La Mirada. They're playing for a title this weekend. Obviously, Bishop Gorman, St. Mary's up in Stockton. They're still playing. So St. John Bosco has really gone through the fire before they even reached the Trinity League schedule, where they played a quarterfinal team, and now we're going to have to play Mater Dei for the second time. But I talked to Coach Negro the other day, and he was saying that the end of the Corona Centennial game in the semifinal just this last week, the barn burner of a fourth quarter, that was the first time his defense needed to stop in the fourth quarter and got a stop in the fourth quarter in a big game. They needed it against Gorman, didn't get it. They needed it against Mater Dei the first time they played and didn't get it. They finally got it against Centennial. And I think that mentally, for that defense specifically, knowing that they can do it against one of the best offenses in the country, by doing it against Centennial, gives them that confidence needed to go and, take care of business against Mater Dei, because the defense did really play very, very well against Mater Dei in the regular season matchup. I mean, JT Daniels was coming in averaging almost 300 yards passing per game, and I think he was at about under 200, almost 160.
Yeah, Dan and I just talked about that earlier on the show, where I remember JT afterwards said, and he said it this way, he said, they saved my butt. He had not played his best game of the year. That was the worst one he's probably played this year. JJ Fiddler on the line tonight. Press Telegram out of Long Beach. They do a great job covering high school sports in the area, and JJ has seen a lot of them. Let's talk a little bit about how this team has evolved. Certainly you talked about how they've bounced back from these 2 tough losses, and they've gotten better to the point where they won against Corona Centennial. But where has this team improved the most from those preseason camps sessions to the big game on the road in Ohio? Can you kind of point to a couple of things and say this is why the Braves are where they are right now?
I'll point to just one player, quarterback Real Mitchell. The junior came into this championship game against Corona Centennial last year after the injury to starter Quentin Davis, and he almost led Bosco to that victory. Very, very close game down to the wire. And he's just a completely different quarterback from that kid. A year later, he's stronger. His mind is working faster. The game is a little bit slower for him now. And I think a big reason why he's been able to mature and develop into what is now probably one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the nation is because Coach Negro and his coaching staff took it slow with Mitchell. And they didn't throw the entire playbook at him on day one. As a starting junior, he's still a junior. It's easy to forget that, but he's got over 800 yards passing in these playoff games, and more importantly, he's got 10 touchdowns and just 1 turnover in these playoffs. So I think that when Real Mitchell is at his best, Bosco is one of the best in the nation, and he is reaching his peak right now. He's playing the best ball of the season right now, and therefore Bosco is playing the best ball of their season.
Yeah, and I remember talking to Jason Negro a couple of times, I think before the Gorman game, and said, people have got to calm down here a little bit. He is exactly where he needs to be, and Jason knows a thing or two about quarterbacks, and that's probably a good question to ask you right now. He's had to follow a guy named Josh Rosen. Quentin Davis had a fantastic year last year. How much pressure was on Real coming into this season?
I don't think it stopped. I think he's been under pressure all season, every game. Everybody's watching everything he does. It's obviously the most visible position on the field, and there are plenty of guys on the field who have been developed throughout this season. I mean, you could go to the defensive side of the ball But look at the receiving core. The receiving core for Bosco is miles better than it was in the beginning of the season, but that's a little harder to see when you're watching the guy take the ball every snap. So, I think that the pressure has been huge. I think you saw it online and on social media last week with Corona Centennial firing some shots Mitchell's way before that game, talking about how it must be hard not being able to call your entire offensive playbook because your quarterback doesn't have a strong arm. And he really went out and let his play do the talking for him on Friday night. I mean, I can't remember a game in which a quarterback performed as well in a more pressure-filled situation than what Mitchell did on Friday night at Cerritos College.
Yeah, that's for sure. J.J. Fiddler on the line tonight, getting the preview of the St. John Bosco Braves. Began the season number 1 in our preseason top 25. Fell just to, I think they got as low as 13, but back up to 7 after the win on Corona Centennial. You talked about the receivers, the running game this year, which was, as Real, improved, the running game had a lot of pressure on it. Talk a little bit about that offensive line and what you like about the Braves up front.
Oh, physicality and a mean streak that we haven't seen in this area in a while. Well, Wyatt Davis, on his way to Ohio State, also an Army All-American, is one of the best offensive linemen in the country. He's definitely going to be on the top of our yearly awards at the end of the year. 6'5", 311, and that's a generous 311. He might be a little bit heavier than that.
Yeah, a little bit.
After Thanksgiving last week, yeah. But yeah, the mean streak on that offensive line is very, very important for that running game because, it's not your average two-back set push forward. It is that read option, and they are a little bit thinner up there than they have been in recent years. I remember in 2013, I think they had 2 full offensive lines. They were that deep when they won the national championship, and this year they are not that much. They're not that deep this year. So I think Davis is a huge part of that. But even more so with Mitchell back there and Beasley and Flowers, all of those guys are very capable. I think it's going to be more important for that which running game steps up in the second half. They were the much better running team in the first half in the first game against Mater Dei. In the second half, it was the Monarchs running and rushing attack that turned that game around early in the fourth quarter, got them down for their first touchdown in the fourth, and then set up the second touchdown. So I really think that the running game in the second half, at the end of the night on Saturday, when we look back at the stats, the team who ran the ball better in the second half is going to be lifting that championship plaque.
Yeah, and we're going to ask you for your opinion right at the end here and predict a winner for us. J.J. Fiddler from the Press-Telegram in Long Beach. Again, just an outstanding job by your whole team there and what you guys do covering the local sports scene, and I congratulate you on that. Now let's flip it over on the other side because I've loved this defense for a couple of years. The speed, the quickness, in that box there, I don't know that I've seen a team this good in a long time. Give me your take on how good this St. John Bosco defense is and has been this year.
Well, I mean, think of it this way, okay? You've got one of the better defensive linemen in South Spina, junior, 6'2", 281. He's already got some Pac-12 looks. He single-handedly almost dismantled the Servite offensive line, and then in the next week he hurt his knee and is out with an ACL for the rest of the season. Bosco has not missed a beat with him out. It's to the fact that they went 3 down linemen against Mater Dei because they didn't have Sal and still were able to perform as well as they did. So, I mean, you got Jacob Collier down there as well, defensive end. He's had a sack in every game in the regular season. And the defensive backs, they've definitely been challenged. I mean, they've gone against arguably the best quarterbacks in the nation in Martell and Daniels from Gorman and Mater Dei, respectively. So, I'd say that, like I said before, the ability to stop Corona Centennial in the fourth quarter and finally clinch a win will do more for that defense than any stat or scheme or anything. They believe that they can stop Mater Dei, and I think that's going to carry them pretty far.
Yeah, that little chip on the shoulder from the Gorman and the Mater Dei game one will carry a long way. Let's talk about, and I talked to Jason about this on Monday when I saw him. He likes being in a position to, make Mater Dei beat him twice this year, and we've seen this in a couple of states already where we've had, rematches, regular season, one team wins, state championship or a championship game, the team that lost comes back. What's your take on game number 2, especially when you have, two teams that are so evenly matched?
Yeah, I think we're going to be in for another barn burner between these two. Coach Rawlinson, I spoke with him as well, and he was talking about how these kids know each other so well. They're spending summers together on 7-and-7 passing, summer passing stuff. They play each other at least once a year. That there's not really a lot that they can change. But gosh, you can't imagine that a guy who's been around as long as Rawlinson and a guy who is as smart as Negro aren't going to have a couple tricks up their sleeve, maybe a couple wrinkles. But yeah, it is. That is the old adage. It is hard to beat a good team twice. And I think Bosco, in terms of confidence and hunger, would have the edge going into this game. I would pick Bosco to win it because in the fourth quarter, one or two things go differently. I think we would have seen a Mater Dei Corona Centennial semifinal. So I think the team that won the tough game in the semi kind of has a little bit of an edge. It's like in baseball when the wild card team gets hot, and then all of a sudden they're playing the team that's been waiting for them for a couple weeks, and the wild card team looks a little bit more hungry, maybe a little bit more edge. And like you said, got that chip on their shoulder, try to get a little payback.
Absolutely. J.J. Fiddler on the line from the Press Telegram in Long Beach, and you've already said you like Bosco. I put the noose around Dan Albano's neck. He gave us his prediction, and I'm smart enough to know that I shouldn't do that. I have to walk the line here. I got to love everybody here. It's a love fest, but I can put a noose around your neck. So give us a prediction and why you think it's going to turn out that way.
Well, I was surprised that it was as low scoring as it was. And I think some of that had to do with both teams. It's the middle of their season. The game really didn't decide where they were going to be because look at them now. They're both in the final. So I think we're going to see both offenses kind of open it up a little bit more, maybe take a few more chances. I think that might mean a few more shots down the field for Mater Dei, which they did not do that much against the Bosco secondary. And I think that might mean letting Raul Mitchell get out there a little bit more for Bosco and make some plays and take the leash off him a little bit. I would give, again, like I said, Bosco the edge, and I think it's going to be a little bit more high scoring. So Mater Dei took the first one 26-21. I'll say that Bosco takes this one 36-31.
There you go. Well, either way, I think we're all going to be seeing an awesome game Saturday night at Angel Stadium, and I'm going to do the same thing I did with Dan before I let him go. It's not just Bosco. We've got 13 divisions playing championships, and you've got some other teams up in your area that are going after sectional titles here in the very tough CIF Southern section. Give us a little snapshot of some of those teams there that have played well this year. Maybe not the same national pub that Bosco gets, but can you give us a little snapshot?
Yeah, I just mentioned them, actually. La Mirada and head coach Mike Machete really building a program out there. They won their first ever state title last year. They also won the section title, so they're trying to repeat there, going against a coaching legend in Coach White and Edison High School. That's on Friday night, so that should be a great game. A cool matchup between an old school run-first offense from La Mirada and a throw it whenever possible offense for the Edison Chargers. On Saturday, actually, we've got two local smaller private schools. Bosco is the big private school in our area, but two local small private schools, St. Anthony and Valley Christian, are both going to be playing in championship games on Saturday night. St. Anthony is at Aquinas, and Valley Christian is hosting Silverado. So great to see those smaller schools getting into those championship games. We've had a playoff revolution here in our southern section. The CIF playoff equity has shaken up these divisions, and some teams have gotten maybe a little bit more of a fair shake here in the playoffs. And we've seen it because now we're covering games a little bit deeper into the football season. And hey, as a guy who played it all his life and loves the game, I've got no problem with that. Championship week is the best. and to have more games to cover is okay with me.
No doubt about it. But overall, because you do bring both sides to the table here, you like competitive equity because, of course, it's a crapshoot the first couple of years. It's going to have to sort out. I think it's done a good job. I was just curious what you think of the competitive equity going this
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is definitely going to take a few years for everybody to feel like they're getting a fair shake. But you look at a team like Long Beach Wilson, who has been in the Moore League playing behind Long Beach Poly forever. And Long Beach Wilson has never been able to get out of that shadow, even in the postseason when they don't see Poly. And they've got to play the other Division I game. Well, you move Long Beach Wilson down, they get to their first final since 1991. First semifinal since 1991 this year. And they fell on the last play, actually, to Los Altos. So you look at a team and a school with so much history like Wilson, and now all of a sudden they're going through a football revolution where they feel like they can have postseason success. And that really changes everything, Jeff. It changes everything from, the summer step-ups, preparing for the season, to the scheduling and all that stuff. So I think the future is very bright for everyone, because playoff equity gives everybody a chance.
Yeah, that's for sure. J.J. Fiddler on the line, and just made me think of one other question, because it's the one that I get the most whenever I'm, around the country, and people will say, Poly, aren't they the long time? And yes, they are the long time, but they notice that it's not been the Jackrabbits of old. Probably no better person to ask than you on, the change within the program there. What is Long Beach Poly? Obviously, played a couple of big national games this year, weren't very competitive. I saw them against Mission Viejo, a game that was close for a little bit. But what's the deal there? Many people thought Antonio Pierce coming in could make a big difference. How do you see what's going on there on the campus?
I think the best way to explain it is look at Long Beach and the greater Long Beach area, and that includes Bellflower, where St. John Bosco is, and the northern part of Orange County, where Mater Dei is, and even as far as La Mirada. In that area, Long Beach Poly was the team for a very, very long time. So when you had your best football players in the local Pop Warners, the LB Browns, that stuff like that, those kids went to Poly. There was no question. Nobody thought Deshaun Jackson was going to go anywhere other than Long Beach Poly. That's not the case anymore. You've got private schools now who have a further reach than ever before, and obviously they're great for kids. You look at a kid like Cross Poyer, starting middle linebacker for Long Beach or for St. John Bosco. His entire family went to Poly. But when Bosco comes knocking, they won a national championship in 2013. They say, hey, come here, play with us. We'll get you a college scholarship. As a family, that's tough to say no to. And I think more of that is happening more in the local area. And for lack of a better term, talent is going elsewhere. And Long Beach Poly is still a very good team in Long Beach. But when you compare them to teams like Bosco and La Mirada and Mater Dei that have some Long Beach talent on it that used to be at Poly, it's tough to match up with that week in and week out. And I think Poly is going to have to reassess what their level of success is. And maybe that will move them down in the division a little bit. That playoff equity we could see Poly in Division II within 2 years, and that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, sure is. Well, as someone once said, the times they are a changing, and that's the best way to put that. Well, JJ, really appreciate you joining us on the show tonight. Great job of giving the listeners around the nation and here in Southern California a great in-depth look at St. John Bosco. Look forward to seeing you Saturday night. Should be a dandy, but thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you for the kind words and everything that you do. Take care. We'll see you Saturday.
Okay. So there you have it, a 90-minute preview of Saturday's big game at Angel Stadium, the CIF Southern Section Division I Championship between number 3, Mater Dei, and number 7, St. John Bosco. But, folks, we are not done yet. There's a reason we're America's premier high school football radio show. We've got 2 more big guests on the show as we go overtime tonight. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to talk with DeMatha head coach Elijah Brooks, getting the 4-peat in the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference, taking down St. John's twice from D.C. this year. And then a little bit later, we head to Arizona, Saguaro's Jason Mohns, the head coach there. 4-peat for them. 4 championships in 5 years as the head coach. So stay with us. When we come back, we're talking DeMatha football. You're listening to High School Football America. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass-playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover's service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, you can filter the clips however you'd like. They'll also automatically prepare a comprehensive tendency report and down and distance report for your staff so you can see exactly what your opponents like to call in specific situations. We all know that every coach spends countless hours preparing before a game. It's not about the time you put in, it's about what you do with that time. That's Crossover's biggest advantage. It allows you to use your prep time more efficiently and get an even deeper level of insight since you don't have to waste time setting up the film. Check them out. You're going to love them. You can sign up for a quick free demo at crossover.com/football. That's crossover with a K.com/football. This portion of High School Football America brought to you by USA Today, HSS.com. That's USA Today High School Sports. Get the Super 25 every Monday. And once again in 2016, High School Football America and USA Today High School Sports teaming up for great national high school sports coverage. and specific coverage from Southern California. Check them out again at usatodayhss.com. Well, a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think this man has come off of the high that occurred there in the Baltimore, D.C. area as the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference Championship game came down to a nail-biter between number 4 DeMatha and St. John's College as they fought a couple of times this year. We had Coach Brooks on the show just before the first battle, and they won their 4th straight WCAC championship with that one. They won 6 straight back in 2003, 2008. Maybe that's the next goal for them. But what a season, undefeated. They come back from a 15-point deficit in the final 7 minutes and 18 seconds to win the championship. And Coach Brooks, who's been on the show before, joins us now to talk about that great win. And we might even sneak a peek at 2017. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jeff. Always a pleasure to be on.
Yeah, well, before we rolled the tape here, you said that turkey tasted pretty darn good last week, a little bit tastier. Let's dial it back a couple of weeks and talk about that incredible game over St. John's. You're down with 7 minutes and 18 seconds to go. You're down 15 points. What are you thinking at that point?
You know, St. John's played an extremely fantastic game. And, we just weren't executing the way that we had done all season. And credit to my kids, they never quite, gave up at any point. And so while things looked bleak, we were just all thinking if one thing could break for us, whether it's a turnover, a big play offensively, then we still are in the game. And, the football guys were on our side, and we got a fumble, which, got us going, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Elijah Brooks on the line, head coach at DeMatha. He's been there since 2011, has done a fantastic job. The program never slipped that much. Good Counsel won 4 championships there, but Coach Brooks has them on the path there where DeMatha, the longtime power in the WCAC, is doing a lot of great things. Number 4 again in the High School Football America national rankings, and all the national ranking polls have them there in the top 5. Coach, probably one of the things you were thankful for on Thanksgiving was a young man by the name of Bo English. I guess that didn't hurt too much to have him taking snaps there when you're down by that much that late in the ball game. Tell us a little bit about, his role in that and just his role in the program over the last several years.
Bo saved, I guess, his last performance, his best performance, for the championship game. And he's been a fantastic leader, leading us to the past 3 championships that we played in as the starting quarterback. And he's always been consistent. He's always, been a winner. And it's one of those things, he can be off, for 2-3 quarters. But when the game is on the line and plays need to be made, whether it's with his feet or with his arm, he just always finds a way to come through and make those plays. So without a doubt, Bo's had a fantastic career here at DeMatha, and he's going to, do some great things at the Air Force Academy. And it's just been a pleasure to coach him.
Yeah, and let's not just make it all about Bo. Let's get some other kids in here by name, because obviously winning 4 straight, conference championships is no small feat. Who are some of the other kids that have been around for a couple of years that you're very pleased with and happy with and made this all possible to win, back-to-back championships?
Yeah, our offense and defenses don't go without the production of our offense and defensive lines. Those guys up front in the trenches, have done it for us, all year. Unfortunately, we lost our top lineman, Marcus Minor, a couple weeks back on ESPN in a Good Counsel game. And so we had to have some guys step up. So senior Zach Lyons, who's been a 2-year starter all year, moved from guard to center. Victor Olawatimi, he moved from starting center to left tackle in place of Marcus Minor. And then we had Austin Fontaine, who was a 2-way player for us all year, did a fantastic job. Evan Gregory, an outstanding junior right tackle who did some great things. And then Michael Holt, who was a newcomer this year that really had to step up as a junior and play that guard position both offensively and defensively, and did a fantastic job. On the defense side of the ball, we had Chase Young, who led the way again this year. Just a fantastic player. Headed to Ohio State next year. He ended the season with 19 sacks, over 100 tackles, a couple interceptions for touchdowns. Just an elite player. And then on the other side, you had Gregory Rose, who also played defensive end, who just did a fantastic job. So without a doubt, those guys up front, definitely paved the way, for our success this year.
Talking with Elijah Brooks, head coach at DeMatha, number 4 in the land, out of Maryland. And Coach, one of the beautiful things about high school football is it changes fairly regularly. I can't imagine what that conversation was with your senior leadership that now moves on, but I'm sure you've had that conversation, although school's not over yet. But kind of what take us inside those conversations. What were some of the things that you said to those young men that have made a difference and brought DeMatha back to not only the top of the heap there in the Beltway, but also nationally?
This senior class that's leaving, they're a special group. They came in and they were, I guess you consider the runts of DeMatha. They had the smallest class during my tenure. I think on that freshman team, there were only like 21 guys on the team. And granted, we had some transfers, but this was the class that people were expecting the least from. And for those guys to believe in themselves, believe in the DeMatha tradition, and just continue to compete day in, day out, they've kind of set the way for guys coming up behind them. And without a doubt, I'm extremely proud of them. They represented this program the right way. And DeMatha Nation was just, many have called it the greatest DeMatha game they've seen. And as a coach, it just makes you feel proud.
Yeah, and we've had such great, some of the top conferences this year. In Indiana, for example, Center Grove was doing well. They had to meet another team a second time. It's happening in Jersey. It's going to happen out here in Southern California with St. John Bosco and Mater Dei this week. Talk to the listeners out there about how difficult it is to beat a team a second time, especially in the conference you play in. Because I'll tell you what, and again, I didn't see any games this year, but read a lot and talked to a lot of people back there. Such great balance and such great talent in the league this year. How difficult is it to beat a team a second time in a season?
It's extremely tough. And, for us, we play a lot of top programs across the country, and we feel better about our chances against, some out-of-conference opponents just because we know that neither one of us are familiar with each other. We're only going to see them one time. But to come home and play guys in the conference, there's so much parity in the WCAC. I mean, you'll face, a team like Gonzaga, St. John's, Good Counsel, and those guys have, 10 or more, Division I players on their team. And so if you're lucky enough to get them in the regular season, it's a good chance you'll have to see, two teams twice, and once in the playoffs, once in the championship. And it's just very difficult. It's difficult to keep your team mentally up for the game. You tend to try to, not show your hand in the first matchup and have some wrinkles for the second matchup. But it's just extremely tough to beat a team once in our league, let alone twice in a year.
Yeah, and in order to get to the championship, I should point out that you had your arch rival that you played end of the regular season on ESPN, and then you go back at them. Yeah. I know that you got to take it always a game at a time, but take us back to that because that had to be interesting. Arch rival back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, it was tough, and Good Counsel and DeMatha, we've been battling pretty tough, over the last decade or so. And so no matter what the records are, each year, we always know it's going to be a tough game. So we had to play Good Counsel on national TV, and it was a hard-fought game, and both programs were kind of playing, chess a little bit. Obviously you wanted to show well on national TV, but we knew that we were going to play each other the following week. So it was definitely a slugfest. We had guys on both sides giving it their all, and we had guys who got banged up on both sides. So again, it's not, you have to do it in order to get to the next step. but as a coach and as a program, it's not anything that you look forward to.
Yeah, that's for sure. Elijah Brooks on the line here, DeMatha High School, number 4 in the land. And as we go away here, Coach, like I said at the beginning, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't give those people out there that are chomping at the bit for 2017 already a little sneak peek inside. But have you even taken the time to think about what you have coming back and what 2017 looks like? What's the off season? Are you already back in the weight room? Tell us a little bit about that.
No, we our guys have worked hard. We'll give them, December off. They'll have time to kind of recoup and get themselves together. And then as soon as we return to school after the new year, we'll hit the weight room, 4 days a week, and we'll be training hard, in our quest to defend our championship. And we have some talent coming back. We have a lot of underclassmen who stepped up this year when they needed to. Quarterback Tyler Linhart, who'll be a senior, who stepped in and had some big games for us this year. Running back Miles Myree, he caught the game-winning championship. Game-winning catch in the championship this past game. And we just have so many young talented guys who are going to step up and contribute. So we're excited about the upcoming year.
Well, that's great. And, we want you to enjoy the holidays. We've appreciated your friendship here on the air and look forward to 2017. But you got another month, like you said, to celebrate 2016, which was incredible. Coach, thanks for joining us on the air tonight.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Very welcome. Taking a break. Coming back with more. You're listening to High School Football America. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field Turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass-playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover's service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, This portion of High School Football America brought to you by USA Today High School Sports. Once again in 2016, High School Football America and USA Today High School Sports teaming up to give you great national high school football coverage and coverage specifically from Southern California. Check them out at usatoday.hss.com. Don't forget, the Super 25 comes out every Monday. Well, just a few moments ago, we talked about a team in the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference that got a four-peat. Now we head west to Arizona, where Saguaro won its fourth straight state title last weekend. Jason Mohns completing his fifth year as the head coach there of the SaberCats. 4 state titles during that run, 25 straight victories at this point, a large senior class that took them to another championship. And Coach Mohns is on the line right now to talk about what was a fantastic 2016 season. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Hey, thank you very much.
Sure. Before we kind of hop into this, let's talk about the fact, the success you've had since taking over the program. I know you were there as an assistant before, but let's talk about the foundation that you laid when you took over the program that has enabled your team, your program, to win 4 straight titles. Is there anything you did back then and that on day one or day one of getting the job that kind of set the tone for what happened last week?
Yeah, I inherited a championship caliber program. Had won several titles as an assistant, as an offensive coordinator, before that as a lower level assistant. So the biggest thing for me, there was a little bit of a kind of a culture issue where, the emphasis had really been put on winning, almost winning at all costs. And so, I was tabbed to come in and try to kind of change the culture as far as doing things a little bit better off the field and being a little bit more involved in the community and representing our school and the community in a better light. So that was really the focus. And my first year, we had won back-to-back championships going into my first year as a head coach, and we actually lost in the quarterfinals, and really considered a failure, a down year. But I think we laid the foundation for how we were going to do things, as a program, on and off the field. And we had some really good buy-in from some of the younger guys. And I think it's just slowly built up to now where, we feel like we're playing at a high level. We're doing things well off the field. We had 12 starters this year that had a 3.5 GPA or better. So we feel like we've kind of really built this program into the complete package, and really proud of what these kids have done.
Congrats on the true student and the student athlete there. Jason Mohns from Saguaro on the line tonight on High School Football America, winning its 4th straight Arizona State Championship 4A style this past weekend, 61-7 in his time as the head coach there. And, Coach, one of the things that, happens when you build a program to this level, you got to kind of go and find other ways to improve. And one of the things you did at the beginning of the year is you took on 2 very tough programs before you came back in state, Valor Christian out of Colorado and a team that I know very well out here in Southern California, Sarah from Gardena. Tell me a little bit about, building that out-of-state schedule and how that helped you once you got back in state playing those tough couple of teams, one on national television, I guess, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, we've been very successful as a program in the state of Arizona and had never actually gone out of the state for a game. So, we kind of decided with a really strong senior class, we wanted some new experiences for those kids. We've always tried to schedule tough opponents early in the season. And last year we played Arizona Division I state champion Centennial out in Peoria. And that was a great test for us. And we want to kind of find out where we're at early in the year so that we have the rest of the season to work on improving and getting better, because at the end of the day, it's not about going undefeated. It's about winning state championships. And so we've always tried to test ourselves. And so with this great senior class, we thought it would be a great opportunity to try to find some out-of-state opponents and really see how we stack up on more of a national scale. talked to Coach Altenberg and had them come out for the 00 week in California, which is our 0 week here. And, obviously they were a younger team this year. Still ended up going 6-0 in the Mission League out there, but was a great test for us, a great first game. It was a real competitive game throughout. They were actually up at halftime, and then we started playing some good football and kind of locked it down defensively in the second half and ended up getting the victory. And it was just a great start from a momentum standpoint. There was not very many other games in the state of Arizona, so the turnout was phenomenal. There was a lot of people locally here that really wanted to come out and see what Sarah was all about. Obviously, with their tradition of sending phenomenal players on to the next level, I think they've got half of USC's roster are guys that played at Sarah. And then we went the very next week and had the opportunity to play on ESPN against Valor Christian, and obviously their big-time quarterback, Dylan McCaffrey. And that was really kind of, I guess, our national coming out party where people that may have heard of us before got a chance to tune in and watch us play. And I really thought we put our best foot forward. We played a heck of a game, really controlled the game from start to finish. And that was for our kids playing their first game out of state, flying out to Denver and staying in a hotel for the first time. They really approached it in a business-like fashion. And I think, you can credit that to our senior leadership, but it was a great experience. And, we've won quite a few state championships over the years here. Those first two wins, they weren't exactly the same as winning a state championship, but they felt closer to that than any other regular season win that we've had in a long time, just because of the magnitude of all the eyes on us, watching us, and being able to really represent all the players that came before. We've got big time players. We've got guys in the NFL and guys playing major college football. And that was kind of our chance to show, the country that Saguaro is a good football program and we can hang with some of the top teams around the country.
Yeah, and Valor Christian playing for a 5A state title in Colorado this week, and know how good Sarah ended up. You're right, young team that really blossomed, so you beat two good programs there. Jason Mohns on the line, talking Saguaro football tonight, and you talked about that senior leadership. I think I read 30 seniors on the team before we rolled the tape here. I did a count in the 24/7 Sports top 65. I think you have 11 seniors in the top 58 there. Tell me a little bit about this senior class as a whole, and then we'll get some kids in here by name. But how important, I know how important a senior class is, but how much of a role did they take in leadership in getting this fourth championship for your program?
Yeah, they were huge. This year, more so than any other year I can remember, just was so enjoyable as a coach and really for our whole coaching staff. The year flew by, and that's, attribute that to our leadership from those seniors. They held the team accountable. They held each other accountable. They bought in, and you said we had 11 players we have 11 players that have FBS or FCS offers. So a lot of individual talent. And people would ask me all the time, it's got to be hard, keeping those guys motivated and focused and bought into the team. And it couldn't have been any further from the truth. I mean, those kids really rallied around trying to do something special this year and trying to be the first team, at our school to win 4 in a row and try to, be a team that makes a splash on the national scene. And it wasn't about individuals. It was about the team. And they held the young guys accountable, and the young guys respected them so much that they just busted their butt and they did everything that they needed to do. And no attitudes, no egos. I mean, we really did not have any major bumps in the road all season long. And, it's just the kids that have a respect for the tradition of this program. And really, I think collectively as a group, wanted to leave their legacy and wanted it to be a special one. And they really did it from start to finish. There was no letdown all year long. And that's tough to do when, we went all the way back to January when we started really working for this thing. So, they almost made it about 11 months of a grind without really any major letdown. So really, really proud of that group of seniors.
Not easy to do, that's for sure. And you have been rewarded with all 4 of the national ranking services, including ours, having you in the top 25. You're at 25 in our algorithm ranking. Jason Mohns on the line, Saguaro, 4 straight state titles. And one of the things I love about doing this show, as opposed to some of the other things I've done where I've had time limits, is you get to allow the coaches to talk about the kids by name and get some of the kids in there that you feel really stood out this year. And again, you've got a lot of kids that are going to play at the next level, but I'd love for you to give the listeners a little bit of snapshot of who your kids are and why you think that they were the kids that got the job done during that long 11-month grind. So let's start on offense and talk about some of the kids that you thought did an outstanding job for you this year.
For sure. Well, I think it starts with our offensive line was just absolutely dominant this year. A really, really talented group. 3 of those guys with major Division I offers. Actually, our region offensive player of the year was our left tackle, Corey Stevens. And in my 10 years of being here at Saguaro, I've never seen an offensive lineman win an offensive player of the year award at the state or region level. So, Corey's a 3-year starter. He's committed to Arizona State. And not only is he a phenomenal player, but he's a great leader. He's a technician. Almost like having another coach on the field. If he decides that he doesn't want to make a lot of money in the business sector, then he'll be a great coach one day. And then, the opposite of him, our right tackle, Jax Waycaser, who's really blown up in his recruiting throughout the course of his senior season. He was a 6'4", 230-pound defensive end as a junior, and now he's a 6'5", 260+ pound offensive tackle. And I think he's right at about 20 offers, picked up UCLA and Oregon and Utah and a lot of other big time schools as the season went on. And he was just a dominant force up front. And then next to him, our right guard, Sean Seawards, who actually was a transfer to us, a kid that had only played on the defensive line as a junior, didn't play any offensive line. And we converted him into a guard, and he's 6'4", 320-pound athlete that's got FBS offers. And he just, as the season went on, got better and better and better. I really think that's where, offensively for us, it started up front there. But you can look at our quarterback, Max Massengale, who actually is one of my studs coming back. He's a junior. He really had his coming out party on TV against Valor Christian and kind of stole the show from McCaffrey. Threw for 200 yards and rushed for 150 yards, and he ended up going over 2,300 passing and over 1,000 yards rushing. Kind of a spitting image, a clone of a kid we had a couple years back named Luke Rubenzer, who was Elite 11 kid, the Gatorade Player of the Year that's at Cal now. And Max just really had a phenomenal year for us. And then we were really balanced. We've got a Division I tight end, Jared Poplowski, committed to Arizona State, that really makes us multiple offensively without having to change personnel. Jared is a great run blocker as an inline tight end. He's a super athlete that can flex out and run routes and line up as an H-back. And, maybe not the overwhelming receiving stats, but the impact that he had on the game was huge all year long. And then from a receiving standpoint, we have Donovan Dalton, was a big play receiver for us all year long, who's also a starting corner. And Donovan's, 6'3.5", about 200 pounds and got a 6'6" wingspan. And he was that big play over the top receiver that really forced teams to have to play safeties over the top of him and take guys out of the box. And that allowed us to have numbers in the box and to run the ball. So I think those are the guys. I could probably go on and name about 4 or 5 more guys. But those are the guys that I think really stood out and made us very dynamic on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, we try to get as many names as we can. Let's flip it over to defense. As they say, defense wins championships. So who were some of the kids over there that did a great job as far as leadership and actually on the field action?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for us, it starts with our team leader, 3-year starter, and inside linebacker Brant Casey. Just found out that he won the linebacker of the year award for the state of Arizona, all levels. And the kid just is, wears his heart on his sleeve. He was our emotional and physical leader on the field and off the field. He's a coach's son, and just one of those kids when you talk about a kid that's the definition of a football player, that's you pull out the dictionary and you look it up and his picture shows up. He's just physical, hard-nosed, dedicated kid that loves the game of football and really our team. When you talk about having 11 guys that have Division I offers, he was our alpha dog amongst all those guys, and we really followed his lead. He had a great year, and then I can kind of go across the board. We had a tremendous outside linebacker, Kyle Soley, who's committed to Arizona State, dynamic pass rusher with the ability to cover and great length. Up front at the nose tackle position, Brandon Boyce had a tremendous year. He was second on our team in tackles, actually last year as a junior and again this year as a senior. Just ultra productive, high motor kid, 6'1", 295 with long arms and just his motor never stops and was really disruptive and played big in all of our big games all year long. KJ Jarrell is our 4-star safety that's going to play in the Army All-American game coming up here in January. And he's got offers from everybody in the country. And KJ is 6'2", 195-pound physical safety that can cover, and he's really rangy and long, and just made plays in the pass game and the run game all year long. Opposite him, Josiah Bradley is a 2018 that's a running back, safety, linebacker kid that's got big time offers already. So I felt like our safety position was really dynamic. And again, Donovan Dalton, who I talked about, as a receiver at corner, he was our boundary corner. We matched him up on everybody's best receiver all year long. Didn't really give him a lot of help over the top, so we could get our safeties involved in the run game. And Donovan was lights out all year long. He didn't give up any big play touchdowns over the top, and he was dependable. And then, we had a kid that's not as big of a recruit. He's got Division II offers, but Austin Shirley, who was our strong side defensive end, that, surrounded by guys with Division I offers and was arguably our most productive guy. Just made plays, very physical at the point of attack, really smart, good pass rusher. And again, another kid that just came up big, and every big game we played, he was ultra productive.
Talking with Jason Mohns tonight. Saguaro winning its 4th straight Arizona State title. We're going to give you a little sneak peek on 2017 in a second here, but Coach, I'd be remiss, especially after an 11-month grind. You get all the interviews, you get all the glory here. You're the out front guy, but you've got a staff there. Tell me a little bit about the staff you put together when you brought in there, and guys that are still there, and how important a role that they play in the SaberCats' success over the last 5 years of you being there.
Yeah, we've got a tremendous coaching staff, and I think at this level, it's you can go out and you can find guys with great resumes and all that. It's to me, it's more about finding guys with the right personalities and guys that really mesh well with each other as a staff, but also with the kids, and it just comes down to relationships. If you build those relationships with kids and you get that buy-in. These kids will run through a wall for you. And that's what we have. We've got just a really good group of guys. It's a very diverse group with very differing backgrounds. But the common factor with our coaching staff is they really care about these kids and they're dedicated and they're willing to put the time in. But my defensive coordinator, Jim Camarillo, has actually been here at Saguaro. This was my 10th year overall. I think he's been here for 12 or 13 years. He had been a defensive backs coach. And when I took over, I knew that he was one of our better coaches on the defensive staff, and I promoted him to be our defensive coordinator. And it was his first time as a D coordinator, and he's just gotten better and better and better, and really put a good staff around him. Our defensive line coach, Kyle Caldwell, played here at Saguaro. He was an Army All-American, played at Arizona State, and has obviously a great background as a player, and is able to translate that into his coaching. Our safeties coach, Max Tabak's another kid that played here at Saguaro. That was a player at Arizona State, and a younger coach, but does such a great job and really relates with our kids well. Our corners coach, Bryant Westbrook, was a first-round pick in the NFL, was All-American at Texas, and just a tremendous background. Another guy that the kids just love, and they soak up everything he says like a sponge. And then offensively, my offensive line coach was probably our MVP. I mean, he just did such a phenomenal job. Not only with his scheme and the X's and O's, but really building the relationship. They had O-line dinners every week, once a week, and they just became such a tight knit unit. So Mark Martinez did a phenomenal job. My quarterbacks coach, Sam Keller, Sam played at Arizona State and Nebraska, and played with Oakland Raiders, and so when you have a guy like that, another guy that's played at a really high level that can work with those quarterbacks and give them advice and give them pointers. Another young coach that the kids really, really relate to well. My receivers coach, Pat Collins, is just a grinder, and he's here all the time, and he's busting his butt. So I can go on and on. We just have a really good staff of guys, and the staff really relates well with the kids, and they like each other. And I think it's contagious when you got a group of guys that like coaching and like being around each other, that the kids, they pick up on that and they want to join in on the fun.
Yep. Proof is in the pudding. 4 out of 5 years there, you've won 4 straight state championships. And Coach, before I let you go here, yes, the season's over. You're probably still celebrating, probably giving the kids a little time off before getting back in the weight room. But you mentioned a couple of class of 18 kids there, your quarterback, Max Massengale, Josiah Bradley. Obviously the cupboard isn't bare. Can you give us a little sneak peek at 2017?
Yeah, I think obviously we're going to replace a lot of very talented kids that have made a lot of plays over the years, but we are excited about what we're bringing back. Obviously when you bring back your quarterback, when you bring back a 4-star athlete that can run the ball and be a factor on defense. Giovanni Miranda was a big time receiver, safety, outside linebacker player for us. That's getting a lot of Division I interest. Logan Pettyjohn's another kid that's a long, athletic outside linebacker, receiver, H-back type player. We feel good about the core. Zach Wilson, a young receiver that was our second leading receiver this year, made big plays in all of our big games. And then we've got a very, very talented 2018 and 2019 class. Just kind of the fruits of the success we've had are the young kids that have come here to be a part of this program. So a couple real talented young tackles, and we're going to be young up front on the O-line next year, but those guys that a couple of years from now, everybody's going to be talking about, and they're going to know their names. So, we might hit some bumps early as we're getting experience for some of our young players, but we're excited about the talent that we have coming back. And we're excited about the legacy that these seniors have left with the kids before them, because it was such a special year. And I think those young guys saw what it's like to really buy in and commit to something, and hopefully they'll carry that tradition on.
Sounds exciting what you have going there, and congratulations on a fantastic year. We appreciate you joining us on the show tonight, and continued success. Maybe we'll be talking to you again at the end of 2017 with number 5 there, one for the thumb, I guess. Thanks, Coach, for joining us tonight.
I sure hope so.
All right.
Thank you.
Taking a break. Coming back with more. You're listening to High School Football America. Instant replays on a high school football sideline? Seriously? Yes, the future is here with Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System. Echo's cutting-edge technology was the first to the market 2 years ago. Echo delivers instant replay to your sideline on an iPad within seconds of a play being finished, so that you can make tomorrow's coaching changes today. This NFHS-approved product may be the biggest change in high school football since the invention of the helmet. Coaches, you'll gain a competitive edge by adding Echo 1612's Instant Replay Sideline System to your coaching toolbox. How cool is this? The Echo Instant Replay Sideline System works with both your current booth and end zone cameras, plus, and this is an important point, Echo works without any cellular connection, data plans, or internet. The list of high school football programs using Echo 1612 system is growing daily, meaning your opponent may already have a game time advantage. You don't want to be left out, do you? The Echo 1612 advantage is simple. Echo plus an iPad equals instant replay on your sideline that improves your game planning. Seriously, you'll be making coaching adjustments in real time, not the day after. Except no copycats, Echo 1612 is the best on the market. Echo 1612's cutting-edge technology helps you make tomorrow's adjustments today. Learn more at echo1612.com. Field turf rubber pellets, be gone. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is a seamless outer sock that was specifically designed to keep crumb rubber and other fine debris from artificial or grass playing surfaces out of an athlete's shoes and socks, thus keeping such debris out of gym bags and locker rooms. The Razor, spelled R-A-Z-U-R, is favored by athletes who want the look of tape, by trainers who no longer have the time to tape only for show, and by moms who no longer want that crumb rubber in the house. The Debris Inhibitor Razor is made in America. It's 70% nylon and 30% spandex, making it extra lightweight and very durable, and it's backed by a 1-year performance guarantee. The Debris Inhibitor Razor covers just the right amount of a player's shoe while keeping those shoelaces tight. It's fully customizable, machine washable, and more importantly, it's easy to get on and off. The Debris Inhibitor Razor comes in 23 colors, and sizes are youth, medium, large, and for that extra big foot, extra large. Founded in 2010 by former University of Mississippi All-SEC football player Carl Hoppy Langley III, Southern Sport Inc. created the Debris Inhibitor to improve athletic performance by protecting athletes, allowing them to look and feel better with technically advanced products engineered with superior fabric construction, patented design, and proven innovation. Get a discount on your order by using the High School Football America code HSFA when you order at TDIRazor.com. That's razor spelled with a U at TDIRazor.com. If you're scouting your opponents without Crossover's game film breakdown platform, you're missing an opportunity to get a huge edge over the competition. Crossover's service lets you upload game film from your hard drive, video camera, or other websites like Huddle. Their team of football experts will then clip and tag the game with player and formation info so that when you log into your account, you can filter the clips however you'd like. They'll also automatically prepare a comprehensive tendency report and down and distance report for your staff so you can see exactly what your opponents like to call in specific situations. We all know that every coach spends countless hours preparing before a game. It's not about the time you put in, it's about what you do with that time. That's Crossover's biggest advantage. It allows you to use your prep time more efficiently and get an even deeper level of insight since you don't have to waste time setting up the film. Check them out. You're going to love them. You can sign up for a quick free demo at crossover.com/football. That's crossover.com/football. All right, well, we went overtime by about an hour and a half, but well worth it tonight as what a great show. If you missed any of it, it remains in our archives at highschoolfootballamerica.com. I want to thank all of our guests on the show, Coach Bruce Rollinson at Modern Day. We want to thank Jason Negro at St. John Bosco, two great guys that I've gotten to know here over the last 4 years. Class acts, great coaches, care about their kids. Just the one of the reasons, one of the many reasons that I love my career of 40-plus years in high school football. And I want to thank Jason Mohns at Saguaro in Arizona, Elijah Brooks at DeMatha in Maryland. Great seasons for both of them. We also want to thank Dan Albano of the Orange County Register. Check him out at ocvarsity.com, presstelegram.com as well for J.J. Fiddler, who joined us to talk about Bosco. Danny talking about Modern Day. It's been a great show. It's been a great year, and we still have 3 weeks of football to go. Keep up with all the scores, whether it's the top 25 or all the states still playing on our state-by-state scoreboards, powered by ScoreStream. I'm Jeff Fisher saying good night and good sports from Southern California. You've been listening to High School Football America.